I'm with Aston Bridgman, co-president of Finsbury in Japan.
Hi.
Aston, can you provide some perspective on best practices from a communication standpoint here in Japan?
I think the same principles apply here as they do anywhere else. I think it's worth adding into that it's worth spending the time to build out relationships here. Relationships to access key press means great sense of information sharing and much more perspective that helps you develop your message and helps carry that. And I think also it's important to spend that time building up relationships with any local partners that you might have for the same reasons, and also for the credibility that they bring.
Is there anything unique about the challenge of communicating in Japan for international companies beyond relationships and what you've already shared?
Yeah. First of all, obviously, language. Language doesn't only mean simply translation, but there are a lot of cultural facets that come with that. So there are different styles of communications expected. Most famous would be the apology bow, for example. In crisis situations, we see that a lot. That's not something typically that we might consider in the West. So when it comes down to some extreme situations, there are quite different practices, and those are situations you might need to be prepared for. More regularly, I would say that it is a question of the local media still being very much print-centric, TV-centric. Digital channels are expanding, but they're still not considered mainstream. However, depending on the audience you want to reach, that might be the best way to get out to them as well.
My last question, Aston, would be, when thinking about communications in Japan, should companies just be thinking about press, or should they be thinking about other forms of communications?
I think obviously press is central to many situations. It really depends on the communications project that you have in mind. Digital channels are growing, and they are particularly reaching out to young people very effectively. But I think with Japanese society, the expectation also is to have the footprint on the ground. Action speaks louder than words, it's the old adage. And I think where a company can spend the time and put in the effort to build out community relations, those can also pay off. It really depends on your aims.
Aston, thanks very much indeed.